Welcome back. Let's now get into the conversation of the night. Revolutionize. What was I saying? We want to talk about digital journalism tonight for the very first time. You know, we are used to talking about factors that affect different kinds of industries. And for the very first time, we talk about our very own profession, our very own field. We'll be looking at the impact of digital journalism on traditional journalism. Are we seeing that traditional journalism taking a plunge for the worst? In studio with me is Agri Karani and Rogers Otiso, who will be helping me, dissect into that matter. Thank you so much for coming. Introduce yourself to our viewers and tell them who you are.
Thank you for the invitation. My name is Agri Karani, a communication and media student from Longo University. I'm currently in second year, and also I love writing, and media is my passion.
Thank you, madam. My name is Otiso Rogers. I'm a student at Longo University, taking communication and media studies. I'm an article writer. I write at Health and Science Stories, the Standard newspaper. I love writing. Heart of Journalism is about writing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You've mentioned that you two are writers for the Standard. What took you into that particular field? I don't think that many people actually go into the field of journalism thinking, I want to be a writer for a newspaper,
Okay. In journalism, you must be aggressive. You must be aggressive. Journalism is not all about finishing your school and going outside there without anything you can do. So, for me, personally, I wanted to be a medical journalist in the future. After 4 years in my school, I wanted to be a medical journalist. So, choosing health and science as my topic, which I can write into the local dailies, I just wanted to be unique. You see, most of the people, most of the journalists are much into political issues. So I just want to be unique, somehow unique, so that I can be somehow unique in the society. So I love science stories.
Mm-hmm. Agri, talk to us. What about you? Why is it the newspapers for you?
For me, it's all about really getting the idea out there. There is more information that we need to really get out there that is not out there. There's information that is online. Why online? And we don't get it out there. So by me writing, I get to inform people. I get to be the eye of the society, because I believe that as journalists, we are the eye of the society. In whatever that is happening, we should know, and we should be able to really give people the information out there. I also write health and science. My major motivation in writing health and science is really to inform people on the type of diseases that are out here and how we can really control them and also prevent them. Yes.
Okay. Now that we are talking about digital journalism, Agri, can you just tell us briefly what we mean by digital journalism?
For me, my perspective about digital journalism is how we have we have really given that freedom from how it was then. Digital journalism is how we inform people by use of journalistic method, such as the internet, to really get the information out there. Not like the traditional forms of journalism, like the radio, newspaper, and the radio, newspaper, and the television. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anything you want to add on, perhaps, Rogers?
Okay, in digital journalism, nowadays you can get information or even breaking news at your comfort at home. Nowadays, people don't wait for bulletin at 9 p.m. or at 7 p.m. to receive news. You can access your news through using your Android phone and get updated what is really happening in the world. Mm-hmm. Digital is the only way to go in future journalism. No. You can access news through using your phone when you are at comfort at your home. There's no need to just wait news at 9 p.m. as said earlier for you to get updated. So this is the only way to go.
But then, if you're now going to, turn to the phones to get our daily, bulletins, do we then have the need for having these journalists? Because we have so many citizen journalists who are, disseminating information at will, not taking the neutrality of the journalism, rule that is there for journalists to always stay neutral. Then why do we need to have journalism?
Or, for example, let me take it simple. Earlier, we had journalists who are some of the journalists are giving news at 9 p.m. So we need at least to get the breaking news as it happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my question is, thank you very much for saying that part of the need for people to be kept up to speed with information 24/7. But then, if we are having these phones that are unregulated, for sure they are unregulated. Do we then have a future in the journalism, the traditional ways of journalism?
For me, in my perspective, I think that the future of journalism is online. It's all about us as journalists creating our space online. Because, like now, major media stations are laying off journalists. It's all about us as journalists coming up with ideas on how we can earn a living now, starting now.
This creativity you talk about, of course, we are seeing a lot of media houses laying off even the most prestigious of personalities that you thought would last into eternity, perhaps. Then how are we going to now scale ourselves, or rather shape ourselves into fitting into the digital space?
Okay, for me, what I can say, you need to be a versatile journalist. What do I mean? Be all-around journalist. Don't stick to that one skill that you have. For example, if you are good in print, don't stick to print media only. Be versatile journalist. Go around. Have at least 2 skills that will define you. Don't have one skill that will define you. Just have at least 2 skills so that you can fit in this media industry. Media houses, most of the media houses nowadays, they are looking for versatile journalists who can handle more than 2 skills and above. So just go into the drawing point and understand which skills fits you. But having one skill, you will not fit in this industry.
For me, I think the future of journalism is all about us thinking of new creative ways. Like now, the reign of Mark Masai has created up new ways of earning a living, like coming up with these onshore social media platforms where he will start earning a living. Because I think that is the only way we can go and really start earning a living through the social media platforms, and also by use of Twitter Spaces, by use of Facebook, by use of YouTube channels. Also,
I can add, in journalism, it is not a must you get employed by any media station. It's not a must, but if you get a chance to be employed, it's all good. But it's not a must you get employed. You can go even, if you are good in writing, for me, for example, just go and come up to your own blog. You can let your articles from there. You can even share your articles to one of your friends who has some blogs. It's not a must you get employed. So.
Okay, give us that drawing line where you know that you'll set the difference between an experienced, or rather a journalist who's really into the traditional forms, and these unregulated citizen journalists who just post anything at will.
Come on again, madam.
I'm asking about these news values that we want to educate people out there that they should look out for when disseminating knowledge, because following the improper route could actually lead to some unprecedented outcomes.
For me, I think as journalists we follow the media ethic rules, which we really know and understand us as journalists in the media industry. One of them is really having that objectivity in reporting of news, and also truthfulness in really dissemination of that information that we gather around.
Anything you'd like to add on, Rogers, regarding the values that we should look out for when, disseminating information as citizen journalists?
You must stick to professional and media ethics. That should be learned as you are going to handle any journalistic duty. Make sure that you are aligned to the journalistic part of it.
But then, Rogers, we are talking about citizen journalism. The contemporary mwananchi out there who has not necessarily undertaken a journalism course. Which regulations are we going to tell them, you particularly, to really follow just to give the proper kind of information in the right way?
Okay, what I can say that they should first of all use their own means to verify news before posting, even sharing to any social media platform. They must verify news, because you cannot give us that. For example, an accident has taken place in Some Bungoma. You are saying, there is no data or any confusing agent that will ensure that we have really get confused what is still happening. Yeah.
Agree. We have now this digital journalism era where journalists feel like they should be given the mandate to actually forgo the principle of neutrality, where you have to stay neutral and not take sides. What do you think will be the worst that can happen if that is considered to, if they are given that authority to take sides in reporting their stories?
As journalists, we are mostly taught that never be in any side while reporting a story. But for citizen journalists, I know there is a problem with that, because it can really lead to violence, like the 207 and 208 violence, because really, if you get information out there that is not correct, and you really give one-sided information, then that is not correct.
Well said. I think people out there are learning why, someone can ask you, you are human too, you have a view about this, you should be allowed to take side and voice your own opinion regarding this. But then we as journalists have a role to stay neutral, so that to avoid such cases that could be actually avoided by passing simple information. Now, let's talk about you two gentlemen who have ventured into the art of writing for newspapers, specifically health. I'm curious, why health?
As I said earlier, I just wanted to be unique. You see, most of the journalists have stick to like politics. So I just wanted to be unique, somewhat unique. Being a writer, being a health writer is not an easy job you can do. I think you can satisfy that. It's not an easy job to do. So I just want to be unique. For me, I love health and science stories, because I had performed higher from high school very, very well in English and not English, in science subject. So I have that skill or even content so that I can expose to the public.
What of you agree? Why the health? Why health?
For me, I have always had that passion of really informing people about health matters, about what is happening out there about their health, and really getting them to know what is new in the health sector. I always wanted really to inform people and really get them into the nursing part or the medical part of really what the healthcare workers go through, and also getting to inform them about new and upcoming diseases, and also how they can also prevent them. Yeah.
Do you think people actually read these newspapers now that we are in the digital era of journalism, where people access information through their phones?
That is why most of the newspapers are also getting digital. Most of the newspapers are now getting onto the online platforms, because they have also realized that most people don't really get to read that hard copy newspaper. So to really get to inform more people who are online, they are getting to really open more spaces for them on their website and publishing those articles there. Yeah, I believe that many people read and many people get informed, and they also take into consideration the solutions that we give to them.
Rogers, some critics say that newspapers should not switch to a solely internet-based format, but instead keep a component of print as well as digital. And we've seen this a lot. Why is this the case? Why are we keeping it, partial? Because if I have my phone, then why do I need to go and buy this newspaper?
Okay. I've done my research. Hard copies, newspaper hard copies, they have a lot of content as compared to print, as compared to online newspaper. I've done my research, so it is better at least to have a cut on hard newspaper and even the online one. So it's a way to go to the hard newspaper.
Now that the both of you are in the print, the print sector or segment of journalism, how do we now set the difference? Because we have a lot of writers online writing about this, writing about that, claiming it is health. You'll find very peculiar content online. How do we get to set the difference so that we choose just the quality of this digital content that you press-based, print-based rather, journalist post online?
The basic way of really getting to know which content is correct is really seeing the source of that news. Like now, if you want to get the real data and real information about maybe a disease that is outside Kenya, it's better to use the WHO and also use the CDC. Those organizations are NGOs, but they really have done research on really getting those informations out there. And also, if you want to get data on accurate data and real data on maybe the polio cases in Kenya, it's better to really use the the Ministry of Health, MOH website. Those are the platforms that that anybody can really trust on their information.
Mm-hmm. Anything you want to add on, Rogers, perhaps that Agri has not mentioned?
Okay, what I can just say is that health and science is the only way to go. Health and science is the topic that is very unique, and I can advise many leaders outside there and media students who are taking communication and media, at least to concentrate and do health and science stories. They are paying. For me, I have done a lot of stories. I've published many articles, health and science stories. So health and science stories, they're a good way to go.
Someone is asking here how, or rather, what is the criteria for becoming a writer for the newspapers?
First of all, you must read. You must have that urge of reading a lot. You must read a lot of newspapers, a lot of books. For me, as I write health and science stories, I read a lot of health articles. There are other students who are reading even health and science articles. I read them so that I can get some content which I don't have. So you must be a good reader if you want to be a good writer. So just read.
Read a lot. Okay. Agree. If I could take you back and ask, newspapers no longer break news to us recently. How do you stay relevant?
The only way to stay relevant in this era of where digital journalism has taken place is really getting to give people an extra information that digital journalism has not given out. Because if you give new information that isn't on the online platforms, then a person will really want to read your article more than that article that is online. So it's all about giving new information that the other writers have not given out.
Both of you are health writers, right?
Yes.
And you have written a lot of articles based on diseases, and someone can just go to their phones on Google and Google about a certain disease, and it will display all the signs and symptoms of that particular disease. What sets you aside? What sets you apart? What makes you unique as a print journalist who's a health-based journalist in the print media? Agree.
The only thing that will really set you apart from really the other people who write health, it's all about how you will bring out your points, and also the interviews we do. Mostly you don't just write health and science stories from nowhere. You must really have a journalist, a medical doctor or a nurse somewhere to really show you and direct you to the right way of writing those stories. Because if right now I want to write about maybe polio cases or malaria cases, I cannot just go and take the symptoms from online. I must look for a doctor or a nurse to really elaborate more on the symptoms before I start writing them down. Yes. So it's all about really getting that interaction with the doctors, nurses, and all people who are in the medical field.
Rogers, many people now viewing digital journalism as the death of journalism. How true do you think this is?
Okay, what I can say is that, as I said earlier, just be versatile journalist. Be all round. It's not a must that if you are good in print, make sure that you have something that will back up your print. In future journalism is about digital journalism. Yes, I understand that. But have some skills. If you are good in technical, do that. It's not all about going to one side of.
Thank you for that. But the question is, are we seeing the extinction of journalism coming to life because of the surfacing of online platforms? Agree? Do you think we are seeing a possible extinction of journalism as a whole, and how do we prevent that?
I really don't think that there will be any extinction of journalism, because digital journalism is another form of journalism, but it's all about really using the internet to get our information out there. Because if we really get to arrange ourselves well as journalists, we can be able to take that praise that the other citizen journalists are taking away from us.
Okay, thank you very much for your contribution. I think we're getting it right from the two honorable gentlemen in studio tonight regarding matters journalism. Some people have funny questions online, about connections into the Standard. They will get to interact with you on your personal platforms if you could share them on that camera.
You can find me on all social media platforms is Agri Karani.
In all social media platform is Rogers Otiso. I really appreciate for your time.
Thank you very much for coming through. Someone here is asking, one Dominic is asking, what are the challenges you guys are facing in the print media?
First of all, remember I'm a student. I need to attend classes, I need to attend lectures. So I have limited time to write my articles. So I need to wake up early in the morning and do my tasks, which I need to submit to the lecturer. From there, I tackle, because I must write an article every week, even 2 or 3 articles. So there's a lot of, I have limited time to take my articles written.
And again, staying relevant is very hard in the print sector, because if I don't write consecutively in the dailies, the next time I will write, it will be very hard to really get my space back. So it means that I have to be consecutive in writing so that I can really maintain my space there. Yes.
Any pros, now that we have talked of the challenges you guys are facing, give us something to make us to want to go into print?
You get network, you network with people. if your article goes viral, you get to network with people, you can get some benefits, always like cash. So there's a lot of benefits that you can get through print, writing articles, science health articles, to be specific on that.
You've put a lot of emphasis on the health sector. Is that to say that these other forms of journalism do not really sell?
But there are less journalists who are good writers in health and science. So I just wanted to be unique somehow.
Agri, do you think that is true, what Rogers is claiming? We have few health writers, and why is that so?
There are health writers. It's just that people don't really love the pronunciation of words that are in the health docket, because really the words that are in the health docket aren't that very easy in really explaining. Yeah, but also the other fields are okay, like the political field. Although the most important thing when getting into a field is looking at how many people are in that field, because in the political field, for me, I see like there are more people in the political field than the health one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, we have these qualities of news that is being newsworthiness. How do you get newsworthiness out of a health story? Because I deem them to be all worthy. How do you set aside one from the other?
Okay, you must focus on timelessness. News that happened last week is less newsworthy as compared to the news that is happening today.
In relation to health, Rogers, we are talking about health. Malaria is 24/7 relevant, right? Because someone is infected today, infected tomorrow.
Yeah.
How do you set aside what you want to select for today that is really worthy for the papers, rather, let's say this week, to narrow it down, or rather to expand it further from a different kind of disease?
You must look for experts, like health and science experts, like doctors, as Agre said. You must look for experts so that you can come up with something that is new in that article you are going to write about. It's about health. Many people have wrote about health, considering that malaria, but just go deep down and see what's new in that article you are going to write about, so that you can make it more relevant.
Someone is asking something that I don't think many people would be asking about cartoonists. We see some segments in the newspapers having caricatures of, matters pertaining to politics and that. What is really the outline of going into being a cartoonist for the newspaper, and how do you go about the whole thing?
Being a cartoonist for the newspaper is all about having that passion, and you must have the passion to really draw, because you must really have that passion to really getting an idea from the political field and present that idea in such a way that you don't offend a person. So in such a way that, yes, you communicate what you wanted to communicate, but indirectly by use of cartoons. Yeah.
Okay. Somehow, when I was a child, I used to think of that like some kind of insults. You see a particular politician drawn with a big head, a huge hand, and stuff like that. But thank you so much for coming through, Agri and Rogers. Thank you so much. We've had a fruitful discussion. We look forward to having you next time. We're going on a break right now, and we'll be back with more stories. Don't go too far.